What up, my fellow NBA lovers? This is your guy, Marcellus Ease. And it looks like the beginning of the end is starting to happen for the Houston Rockets as Daryl Morey and the Houston Rockets have parted ways. AKA Daryl Morey should be fired because this team has pulled off all the strings they could with James Harden. But there's a number of things they got to ask themselves. How far can this analytically driven system can take this team? Because for the money that they spent, the trades that they made, the picks that they give away, they're trying to get to the promised land and they have yet to reach the NBA Finals. And they also have to ask themselves, with this Daryl Morey situation right now, before they had let him go, what kind of coach can they get? Because even Jim Jackson had made statements how Mike D'Antoni's offense had a lot of versatility to get layups, to get jump shots, to get three-point shots. But Daryl Morey's analytically driven offense had restricted even Mike D'Antoni to just three-pointers and layups and to drawing fouls. That was pretty much it. This team in the playoffs is very predictable against smart teams. But since 2014, there's been sort of a shift on the number of scouts, the type of executives to come into the league, GMs, and there've been guys who've never played basketball even in high school. And Daryl Morey's kind of been the queen bee of this analytical only approach. Guys like Zach Lowe and a lot of other analysts have actually supported these guys because none of these guys have actually played basketball. But when they come in with the analytically driven, agenda, they could basically say, hey, you can't go against the math. But it's quite interesting what Gilbert Arenas, before I touch on this segment, Gilbert Arenas has something to say about the analytically driven only guys as it's actually hurting the league. And young kids going through AAU and up in high school actually are looking at what the NBA players are doing and they're actually mimicking them. And they're doing their moves about 3 or 4 different ways. And by the time they come up to the league, they're successfully hitting these new type of shots. And then he kind of correlates how the analytically driven guys start to say, hey, find me the analytics that can match up what these kids are doing. You guys check it out.
It's just like us growing up. And the wave is looking. So what the wave is doing, this bottom grassroots, they're looking at NBA.
Yeah.
They're watching, they're mimicking, then you gotta remember, here, all the freedom in the world, mentally. Up here, most of the players are capped off, depending on what you are in your team. So they get to look and watch moves and go out there and freestyle them. And just get busy with them. So what you did, they done added 4 or 5 different combos to all of it. So technically they're more advanced when it comes to creativity. So, if I'm shooting from this, Steph Curry, Dame Leonard's watching, oh, you see that shot? Oh yeah, let me try to pull up. Now they're mimicking it. Now they're trying to shoot it farther. Farther. They're watching, like, I turned around. Now they want to do the whole circle.
Yeah.
Start clapping, and that's what they're doing. So what ends up happening is once it comes into the league and everyone sees it successful, now they're like, now they got to start, now they're trying to look for it and mimic it. And we need to put the analytics. And I'm like, whoa. You can't analyze and put a structure off of one team. Like, yeah, Curry is number 1, number 2. Clay is number 1, number 2. KD's 1, number 2, 3. Like, these are the best shooters in the game. You can't say, oh, we need to run and shoot threes and don't let layups and threes. Wait, what? What? Do you know there's like 29 other teams? They don't have these 3 motherfuckers. So like they don't have them. So like that is that's great for them. That is actually bad for everyone else if you're going down this trend. Because what ends up happening is because there's only a few Ray Allens,
Yeah.
but they're all taking Ray Allen shots, you have bad basketball.
Yeah.
So now when you look at an over-under and they scored 214 in 2020, that is horrible. You're shooting 20, 30 more three-pointers than the early 2000s, but only averaging 4 more points. What? I don't know what your analytics said, but that is horrible. That is a horrible stat line.
Once again, having analytics, it's not nothing wrong with that. It's just a tool in the arsenal, but it can't be the only tool. And it has its limitations. So once you get to the playoffs, you start to become very predictable. Anyway, you guys check out this segment, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
General managers, it's an all-time great trade. And then once you get James Harden, it doesn't matter if the Warriors get Kevin Durant. It doesn't matter if they seem unbeatable. You go all in to try to win. You're not afraid. You don't wait them out. And he used every resource at his disposal.
He definitely did. But the thing the Rockets got to ask themselves, they've made every commitment to James Harden. He's the only variable that hasn't changed. CP3 left, Dwight Howard left, Mike D'Antoni left, Daryl Morey left. The only equation now is James Harden. How loyal and committed they're going to stay to James Harden. Because I'm smelling that they're going to eventually part ways because this is going to go completely left.
To try to make the best team he could during James Harden's prime. And in 2018, they got damn close.
I agree. Look.
And that right there is false. They did not get very close. Andre Iguodala got hurt in that series. He's referring to that series with the Rockets and the Warriors where they went to 7 games. Andre Iguodala got hurt after the first 2 games in which the Warriors were up 2-0. Then the Rockets made their comeback. So right then and there, if they had Iguodala, they would continue busting the Rockets' ass like there was before. But people never talk about that.
I live down here in Houston, and Daryl Morey gave the Houston Rockets and the city of Houston life. Like when he made that trade for James Harden, all of a sudden, a couple years later, they were contenders. They wasn't even talked about.
Hell yeah, Daryl Morey, man, his execution as far as making trades and pulling the gun, this guy's a gunslinger. Excellent negotiation skills. He's done his thing since his tenure in Houston, since 2007. He's rebuilt the team. He went after James Harden. There was a grace period where he kept the team competitive without T-Mac and Yao Ming after they left with their injuries. Daryl Morey, man, the way he operates, he's definitely going to get another job in the NBA because the way he operates, it produces great regular season basketball. But when you get to the playoffs, that's the main issue. It has a peak. There's a glass ceiling on his type of system. And it seems like it's only works until the second round of the playoffs, or at least to get you to the conference finals. But to get to the finals and to win a championship, it has its limits.
So I'm looking at Daryl Morey, and in my opinion, he set the bar for a lot of GMs because he was aggressive, he was fearless, he wanted to win, and he was in the moment. And I love how aggressive he was in trades to try to make it happen. When you look at his resume, especially over the last 5 or 6 years, about 4 of those teams that they lost to, all of them went on to win the title. So that says to me that he was actually doing something right.
Now, as you can see, the Rockets, great regular season stats. Like I said, there's a glass ceiling on this analytically only driven system. And these analytically, guys, especially guys like Zach Lowe, the analyst, all these guys went to Ivy League. He went to Dartmouth. A lot of these guys, Daryl Morey, MIT. And for the past few years, this analytically driven system has given these guys reasons to have almost a higher say than players that have been through AAU, all through the, Chitlin circuit, all the way to get all the way up to the league. They have more say than these guys. And that's almost like the revenge of the nerds. But as we've seen, Daryl Morey's the queen bee, and this type of system and approach is actually winding down.
Went against some powerhouses in the Golden State Warriors, and then this year against the Los Angeles Lakers against LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So I think in the future, Daryl Morey would get another job. He deserved another job. I'm mad that he left the Houston Rockets organization because he's a hell of a general.
Nah, he didn't leave. He got let go. Especially the Rockets owner, the new owner, Tillman Fertitta, man. This guy is in huge financial issues right now. A lot of his hotels and casinos because of the pandemic. It's causing him a lot of issues. And also, he actually purchased the team from the previous owner, and it's rumored that he borrowed at least $300 million from that owner, which is weird because technically the previous owner sold the team on credit, which he technically probably still owns the team. So a lot of people throughout the sports media and people inside the NBA circles, they question, his cash flow. But he's been very cheap so far as starting off with the Rockets. I mean, it's a matter of time before they give up on Westbrook. And eventually they're going to see if they should remain loyal to James Harden and just get some assets for him since they have no draft picks in the near future.
manager.
Yeah, executive of the year in the past. And look, he is really one of the lead voices in bringing analytics into the NBA and the rise of the integration of that into front offices. And certainly some people think that has gone too far, but there is.
AKA a lot of the NBA players, the former players, think that has gone too far. A lot of the former players, GMs like Joe Dumars, a lot of these guys that understand players' mentality and, things that the analytics can't really look at. Because going into the playoffs, the analytics can't work because a lot of the NBA games, they're mental. So like I said, man, it's pretty much the revenge of the nerds.
No doubt that having more information, more tools at your disposal makes you a better franchise. That is just a fact. And the fact that he just really brought about so much creative thinking, I think that spread across the league as well. That sports in general is a place where people look to what's been successful in the past. It's a bit of a copycat league, the NBA. And Daryl Morey really spurred the idea of, I don't really care what everyone else did. What can we do? What fits our personnel? What's going to make us the best? And I think that is going to be a big part of his legacy as well. The NBA.
Now, it's a funny thing. He said he doesn't care about what fits our personnel. Now, Earl Watson had also talked about, he's the former coach of the Phoenix Suns. He talked about when he was there, how they were analytically driven the same way that the Rockets were, but they were just a cheap imitation. As we all know, the NBA is called a copycat league, but it didn't work for the personnel that they had. But of course, the Phoenix Suns were trying to force it down their throats. Down in Memphis, they try to imitate the same thing. They signed guys like Chandler Parsons, a bunch of bad contracts, and it ended up not working out. You guys check out real quick what Earl Watson had to say about this.
You can analytically, you can make anything look good.
Sound good, yeah.
You can find a number that matches what you want to say, right, and what you want to prove. And one analytic is in the NBA, it's rim number one, which you're going to get fouled, free throws number two, and corner threes, right? It's the best three options. Analytics come in now, I don't know if they did this before, and they say we have to play this way. To your point, we have to shoot 33s a game. That's what they told me. And I said, with who? TJ Warren is a paint scorer. Bled is most effective driving, getting a piece of the paint. Book can shoot 10 if I tell him to. But where are we going to get the other 20? Like Brandon Knight is a three-point shooter off a combo. He has to combo before he shoots. He can catch and shoot, but he's more efficient, like get into his rhythm. That's going to be bad basketball. Got to do it. Okay. We about to get a top pick. Okay, let's go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can say, okay, either you really believe that or you really want me to get us a top pick. Just tell me the truth.
Now, it's also ironic that there is a correlation between the start of 2014 when these analytics-driven teams started focusing mainly on that and the NBA ratings started to dip. And this is why the quality of some of these games are bad, because some of these teams don't have the personnel to fit the three-point shooting style of offense the analytics say to do. Now, it is what it is. We'll see if Adam Silver makes any adjustments to this, because it is affecting the ratings. And then just overall, the style of play, man. The game has so much versatility. It's almost like boxing. There's many different styles.
Has been better for having Daryl Morey in it for as long as he's been in it. I love the idea that he wants to take a year off maybe and spend some time with his family and just kind of recharge after what was the longest and most difficult basketball season for both him, the Rockets, and possibly the rest of the league. But I do hope that he comes back because, again, the NBA is a better place when Daryl Morey is around. Of course, the Rockets are going to have to move forward without him, so I want to look at that as well, guys. Three-point shooting, ISO heavy. It has been a distinct brand of basketball. You can see such a big jump in the Rockets' three-point shooting from the 2016 season, 2017, incremental increases each subsequent season.
Damn, it seems like, Daryl Morey put the noose on Mike D'Antoni's neck tighter and tighter every season. And that's how committed they are to James Harden. They're just trying to, put this style of basketball around him, which was smart on their part. But at the end of the day, it has its cap. I mean, this team did not even get to the conference finals.
Rockets had 4 of the 5 highest three-point attempts seasons in NBA history over just the last 4 seasons. Perk, do you think now with the GM gone, with the coach gone, the Rockets' style of play is going to significantly change because the personnel is still the personnel?
I don't think it's going to change that much, but definitely they're going to have more of a room to hire coaches because they were limited with Daryl Morey being the GM and trying to find a coach to fit his personnel. Once again, the analytics it should be one of the tools in the arsenal. It shouldn't be the whole bag. It doesn't make any sense. And the Golden State Warriors, they use analytics just a slight bit, but they had guys like Jerry West that put this team together who have championship pedigree. Same thing for Steve Kerr. Once again, man, these analytical only driven guys.
Right, and I think they're still going to play small, but just them focusing on shooting three-pointers and getting layups, that's going to change, and they're going to have to realize that the mid-range is still there and it's still alive, and you need that to win a championship. And I'm also looking at it that you do need to add in a big man that could protect the rim.
Yeah, especially the fact that Western Conference now have a couple of big men like Jokic that's changing the whole conference. They're going to have to get someone to guard that guy because Denver is going to be a real problem for some of these teams that are very small. I mean, even look at the Lakers, the previous champions, the current champions right now. They got a couple of big men on the team. Anthony Davis, he gave a small team like Miami a lot of issues in the inside paint. I mean, things are changing up right now. The kind of players that are in that conference, they're bigger. So there's going to have to be a lot of changes. And you can look at the past two previous NBA champions. They were not the type of teams that the analytics fit for. A bunch of teams, two teams in the Raptors and the Lakers that were not really good three-point shooters, but yet they are the NBA champions.
If you look at all the championship teams throughout the history of the NBA, they had a rim protector. And I know Dwight Howard left the Houston Rockets on bad terms. He also left the Los Angeles Lakers on bad terms and had the chance to make it up to him, and he did just that. If I'm the Houston Rockets, I'm looking at Dwight Howard, and I'm saying, I might want to consider picking him up in the offseason. He's low risk for high reward. He's still one of the most athletic bigs in the game today. He still can anchor a defense, and you could get him, and I think he will improve that team dramatically.
Hell yeah, there's going to be a lot of jobs for bigs, man, because like I said, guys like Jokic, man, is going to be an issue, and the Lakers are the defending NBA champions. But don't tell Zach Lowe that. The guy to the left, he's one of these guys that are very analytically driven, and Daryl Morey was this queen bee. And the fact that this has not worked out is hurting these guys because these guys have been very snobby. Like I said, man, these nerds, well, I don't want to call him a nerd, but these guys have basically took the lead by storm in the front offices, claimed that they should get jobs over other guys that played in the league just because they're going according to the math. And technically, they have nothing to show for it with Daryl Morey. No conference finals, no NBA finals appearances. It is what it is.
Zach, Perk has been banging this drum all week about Dwight Howard. Zach, I was asking Perk on Tuesday, I think, does he want Dwight to do a whole redemption tour of all of his former teams? Because it would take a while. Do you think that that's a smart pickup for them, or someone that they should go after?
I don't know if James is ready to have Dwight back, but I agree with Perk. I think they will get a center. I don't know that they'll get a starting center, but I think they're going to have a rim-running, shot-blocking center in their rotation next year. Tim McMahon from ESPN has mentioned Nerlens Noel as a possible target. But stylistically, I still think they're going to play Morey ball. They're going to shoot a lot of threes. They're going to ISO.
They have no choice. They don't have any money. They don't have any draft picks to change anything. But at least they're going to have more options as far as getting a new coach. But the question is, who the hell's going to want that job?
And they've gotten pretty far that way. To me, the biggest question facing them is not only their defense, but offensively. James Harden has to be a threat when he doesn't have the ball. He can't just pass the ball and stand near half court and wait for the possession. And Perk has talked about.
And I remind you, the late, great Kobe Bryant has said the way James Harden plays basketball, just that style of play, it's not going to win a finals. He stated that out of his own mouth. You can't win like that. You can't win the whole thing playing like that.
That a lot. They need to just be a little bit more dynamic late in games against great defenses. We haven't seen enough of that. We haven't seen a lot of great big games like that from James when the chips are really down. So, and next year, look, the window's getting a little narrower for them.
See, once again, Zach Lowe, man, is one of these analytical defenders. The window has been getting low. It got low the day that Chris Paul and James Harden had lost in front of Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson in back-to-back games without Kevin Durant. That's when the window started closing. Once you saw them get Russell Westbrook, which doesn't even fit into their system, that window basically closed.
And Russ are getting older. They don't have a lot of cap flexibility, and the West is going to be absolutely loaded next
And they lost this past season in the bubble. Basically almost got swept by the Lakers. So they're not even close.
year. Like the window's getting a little smaller.
Yeah, and when you look beyond that, you then start to have years with no picks, right? Or the pick swaps or the picks that they've given away. So there's a lot of win now going on.
Yeah, they almost don't have any picks until 2030. Shit, I think 2027 is when they actually have picks. Yeah, it is what it is. We'll see where this team gets at. Oh man, this is Daryl Morey. He's definitely gonna get a job, but like I said, his style of play is great for the regular season. A lot of these NBA owners, they use their teams as a cash flow and they want to win some games and sell some tickets during the regular season. Daryl Morey is definitely your guy. He can get you a team that can do that. But as far as winning it all, I doubt it. It is what it is. You guys stay safe. Until next time, peace.